Daybreak Africa is your one-stop top-notch breakfast show that brings you all the interesting stories happening in and around Africa.
Because we have all the morning essentials,
including the latest news, sports, weather, and events. And of course, the people.
Daybreak Africa on Television Nigerian.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yes, it is another great day, and we'd like to say a very beautiful good morning to you and many thanks for joining us. This is Television Nigeria, and this is Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. My name is Elvis Oga. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mercy Joe. I wanted to talk before my partner the other time. But anyway, I hope you all slept fine. How was the weekend?
Yeah, the weekend was actually awesome.
Yeah, I can see, I can tell.
It started very quiet, but then
very quiet. All right.
It ended on a high note.
During the weekend, I heard this story, and I was like, let's share it with our viewers, and then probably they can pitch in one or two advice there.
Yeah, it would be nice. Apart from pitching in one or two advices, they could actually learn one or two from it as well.
Exactly. So there's this fish story. There's this
quite funny and hilarious.
I'm telling you, there's this catfish story. A lady, she and her partner, and she prepared catfish pepper soup for them to have that very day. And let me include that she's pregnant for her partner, although they are not legally married yet. So after she prepared the pepper soup, there's the tail and there's the head. And she served him with the tail, and she took the head. My first question is, Elvis, the head and the tail, which has more flesh?
The tail actually has more flesh than the head, but some people might prefer different parts of the fish.
Different parts of the fish. Now, she didn't ask him which part would he want, and then she gave him the tail. Now, after giving him the tail, his friend was there as well, and then it sprung up some sort of issue. He was like, that means indirectly you want me to be the tail of the family, whilst you become the head of the family. That was the argument that came up. So my question is, whichever part, does it really matter? Because he has left now. He left angrily. He's not responding to his calls anymore, and he's not talking to her, and she's pregnant and confused right now.
In as much as the story sounds very hilarious and quite funny, it's very serious as well. Serious. Because some of those issues people have at the family that actually translate later to societal issues. Yeah. They stem out of maybe moves or gestures like this, but there are a whole lot of angles or perceptions one can actually look at this from, and I think it just boils down to communication. That is one thing we talked about when we mention relationship.
You don't think it should have led to the extent of him actually leaving just like that?
Because so many people might want to say, okay, maybe he was actually waiting for something to happen so that he could actually run away, maybe run from responsibilities. Who knows? And then another way, some people can actually be so traditional or so religious to their own line of thought or their beliefs. So for the man to say, okay, if you give me the head of the tail of the fish, that means you want me to be the tail in the family. Why you become the head?
That's a very funny.
Like I say, it's quite funny, but I think it's boiled down to communication. They just need to talk about these things earlier on and be like, okay, this is what I believe, and then if it happens, this is what you should do, and then the man should actually look for a better way to handle it rather than running away.
I'm sure she didn't even know. She didn't understand. So that's where you're talking about communication. Because if she was aware that he preferred to have the head, probably she didn't see it that way. She saw it that there was more flesh in the tail. Let me give it to him as the head. Then I'll take the head that does not have enough flesh. That's how I see it. But then the thing is that next time, sometimes communication, ask questions.
Yes. For the man to actually run away from the house is not really the best way to go about it. No. Because there's this saying, there's this saying that goes that he will run and fight and run lives to fight another day. And then I've seen, there are several criticisms we actually see from different angles or different quarters in the society, be it social media, that have actually done a lot in shaping the lives of people. So I think I saw where they said you are very childish if you are angry with your wife or angry at your wife and you refuse to eat her food. So since that day I'll be like,
where are you going to eat?
I don't want to be that man that goes on hunger strike anytime he's angry.
All right, Nigeria is marking Army's Day celebration today.
Yeah, it's an annual event that normally comes up on 6th of June every year. And you were sharing with me some activities that actually happened yesterday as a sign of marking this is Army's Day. That
was in the Doma community in Nasarawa. They went to the community and they gave palliatives. Food items, bag of rice. They even helped in cleaning some parts of the
drainages and then help block erosion, gullies, and several other things. When you shared that story with me, I had to go look for the story, and it was actually very good, especially when most people tend to look at our armed forces or the military as one. I don't even know how to qualify it, but it's good that they are putting this civil face to an extent, because to mark a day as significant as this in the lives of the country and even in the institution as our army as well. There have been several reports concerning, okay, how has the military been able to treat the people, several of that.
And this is one of it.
Yeah, this is one of it, because away from, okay, looking at the military as these people that always come with a disciplinary action, at least for them to come with that civil face, for people to be able to relate with them and all, and to go a long way in setting example. Okay, these people, even in their own way, find a way of carrying out community service, because I might want to call it that way, where they come to clean the drainage. And then
you could see them so agile and happy. Like, there's still another thing in what they are doing for the people. Are they happy about it? So you could see the excitement in their faces, jumping out of the lorries and carrying the bag of rice and giving them smiling, dancing. It was really a very
like I say, so many people actually learn a lot of lessons from that particular gesture from the army, especially coming from, okay, when you set your goals and then you go about achieving them and all, and it takes a whole lot of discipline as well. So that's to further tell a story of how disciplined that profession is, as the case may be. So
the Chief of Army Staff, the theme for this year is Nigeria's territorial defense and sovereignty, imperatives for Nigerian Army's sustained training and operations.
Wow.
That's the theme for this year.
It's actually in line with the realities of the day concerning what's been happening. We've seen people that actually came from wherever we don't know and try to, I don't want to use the word threaten, but try themselves with the territorial sovereignty of Nigeria. And the army has actually been marching them shoulder to shoulder and been giving them room for whatever cause they want to fight or they are putting up.
All right, shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Nigeria recorded 544 new cases of coronavirus yesterday, bringing to a total of 28,711 cases in the country. Recoveries, 11,665. Now, sadly, deaths 645. Subsequently, later we'll be having two guests with us who will be talking about the school's resumption. That's from Mr. Gabriel
Omonia.
And flight resumption. Mr. Peggy Shande will be with us in the studio to shed more light. They bring out their opinions and their suggestions. So that will be later in the program. Kanye West.
I was actually waiting for that. I saw that news yesterday, and I'm trying to balance my feelings to that, but in a nutshell, it's interesting.
It's really very interesting.
Very, very interesting.
I yesterday when I saw the news, I was like, Kanye West.
The first thing that came to my mind is I was trying to compare, or not really compare, but put side to side the political terrain in the United States and in Nigeria, where Kanye West have actually been nursing such ambitions, and nobody got a wind of it till just yesterday, or maybe people that got a wind of it, Kanye West never made it known. And then compared to Nigeria, we are in 2020, or even from 2019, people have actually been speculating about 2023. And we're talking about U.S. election that is about months away from now.
November.
Kanye West has come out to just declaring his intention and all. And I'd be like, oh, this is how it works out there. So that means people can actually be taken away. The attention can actually be taken away from trying to look into, I want to call it distraction, where instead of you to face what's in your front at the moment, you are busy thinking about 2023 already. So that means if US was to be the same from 2016, they must have been thinking about
2020.
2020.
Right.
And the likes of Kanye never did it, and I think we've seen that concentration yielded so many results, where I think he just clocked the billionaire status not too long ago with several
and
ventures.
after being born again.
After being born again. And then after so many joint ventures with his wife, and people have actually been coming to hail the wife and applaud the wife for standing by him. And then very interestingly, another thing that came to my mind yesterday when I saw that story was the fact that, Kanye and Trump happens to be some kind of good friends. And Trump is running again. Kanye is about to run.
We'll get there first. Let me read in his tweet.
All right.
We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for President of United States! 2020 vision. Wow. That's hashtag 2020 vision. The boy, and I mean, even his wife had to comment with the United States flag. And other people, CEOs, top persons commenting. This is tweet has brought about thousands of comments.
Yes.
Across.
We're talking about Kanye.
No. Kanye.
From his controversy while he was still with the secular music, and then to his surprise cross of being born again, then winning so many souls for Christ, holding several concerts, dropping an album, Jesus is King, and we're talking about Kanye.
Well, it seems like we shouldn't expect anything less from him.
Exactly. And I'm actually looking, because there was this time there was a report of him having mental breakdown, and that people were trying to use against him, and the likes of Donald Trump actually reached out to him and tried to see, to the best of my knowledge, he's friends with Donald Trump. He's been talking about, he just left the White House, blah blah blah, several things, and all he's been doing. But
and now he's running for presidency.
The same seat Donald Trump is trying to retain again. And I'm looking at, America practice two-party system, the Republican and the Democrat. And we're trying to see, is it going to go into the primary with Donald Trump, his friend, or is going to come from another party? And we know the other big men that are actually coming from the other party as well. So
anyway, with time, all this will unfold to us. We'll see who is running against who, and under what flag bearer who is running against. All right, it's time to go across Africa to get the news across Africa.
Welcome to News Across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Rwandan authorities have welcomed a decision by a French court to reject a bid to reopen an investigation into the assassination of Rwanda's president in 1994. This assassination ignited a 100-day genocide that led to the killings of 800,000 people. 9 people close to President Paul Kagame were prosecuted in connection with this case, poisoning relations between Kigali and Paris. Following the decision by the Paris Court of Appeals, lawyers for the family of the victims of the attack on President Juvenal Habyarimana's plane immediately announced an appeal at the Supreme Court. The appeals court in Paris had been requested to revisit a 2018 decision to throw out an investigation against 9 former members of incumbent Rwanda President Paul Kagame's entourage. After 6 months of deliberation, it handed down a 64-page judgment on Friday confirming that decision. A plane carrying Habyarimana from Rwanda's Hutu majority was shot down in Kigali, the Rwandan capital, on April 6, 1994, disturbing a fragile peace process and led to a killing spree targeting mainly members of the Tutsi ethnic minority and moderate Hutus. In 1998, an investigation was opened in France at the request of families of the French crew. Now, Kenya's world record holder, Wisin Kipsang, has been slapped with a 4-year ban from competitions after missing series of doping tests. A ruling published by the Athletics Integrity Unit on Friday states that the ex-marathon runner was found to have missed 3 tests. He failed to provide timely information on his whereabouts on a 4th occasion in 2018 and 2019. Kipsang won bronze in the marathon at the 2012 London Olympics. He broke the world record the following year in Berlin. The athlete held the record until Dennis Kimeto bettered his time the year after. Kipsang has won the New York and Tokyo Marathon and won the London Marathon twice. Botswana says it is investigating a staggering high number of elephant carcasses, 275, found in the popular Okavango Delta area of the southern African nation in recent weeks. The Department of Wildlife and National Parks said it's mobilizing human personnel and aircraft to better understand the mysterious death. Lucas Taolo, the department's acting director, said local communities are being advised not to tamper with the dead elephant stalks. Samples have been collected for analysis at labs in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Canada, and anthrax has been ruled out as the cause. Poaching remains a threat in the country, but also has been ruled out as the cause of the deaths. Botswana has the world's highest population of elephants, with more than 106,000 counted in a 2013 area survey in the country's north. Former Wildlife Minister Tshisekedi Kama, brother of former President Ian Kama, has blamed poaching in the Okavango Delta on President Mogwetsi Masisi's decision to disarm the Wildlife Department anti-poaching unit in 2018. Antananarivo returns to containment 2 months after the easing of restrictive measures and even the reopening of schools. Authorities have again decided to restrict movement in the Malagasy capital due to the spike in coronavirus cases. The measure is expected to continue until July 20, and the conditions are strict. Only 1 person per household has the right to go out on the street from 6 a.m. to noon. Until now, the measure extended until 5 p.m. Accustomed to registering dozens of cases of coronavirus per day, the Malagasy Health Authority has reported hundreds of cases daily for the past 3 days, including 216 on Saturday, a record for the country. A total of 1,621 people are currently living with the virus on the island, with 31 serious cases among the 23,000 people tested since the beginning of the pandemic. The highest court of appeals in Egypt on Saturday upheld a 15-year sentence against one of the leading activists behind the country's 2011 uprising for his conviction of taking part of clashes between protesters and security forces later that year. The Court of Cassation also confirmed a fine of $372,000 against Ahmed Doma, a secular activist, over the same violence-related charges. Doma was one of 230 people sentenced in 2015 by the Cairo Criminal Court to life in prison. All defendants were tried in absentia except Doma, who was serving a 3-year sentence for breaking a draconian law regulating protests. The case concerns clashes in Cairo in December 2011, during which a fire gutted parts of a library housing rare manuscripts and books. Other government buildings, including parliament, were damaged during the protests. The nearly week-long clashes that left 40 people dead happened after young activists took to the street to protest the post-Mubarak political transition overseen by the military. The clashes caught world attention when riot police were filmed beating, stripping, and kicking female demonstrators in Tahrir Square. That is the much we have for you on News Across Africa. Daybreak Africa continues shortly.
Africa, Africa.
All right, welcome back from Across Africa right there. This is still Daybreak Africa on television Nigeria. And like we earlier mentioned, that we'll be joining the studio by somebody to share his view concerning the resumption of school, even though a whole lot of guidelines have actually been put in place by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and even other experts after wide and due consultation. We have the person in the studio right now.
Yeah, in person of Mr. Gabriel.
Good morning. Gabriel, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gabriel.
Good morning, David.
How was your night? You're fine?
Fine.
You're okay?
Yes, I'm good.
Are your nieces going to resume school?
I'm so happy.
You're so happy, for real? That's serious.
That's serious.
Okay, like we intimated you earlier on, we're here to talk about the planned resumption of school by the federal government, because they're trying to look at we cannot, because of COVID-19, and allow the whole calendar year just roll by or become waste like that. But people have been coming out to air their reservation concerning that. We want to hear your own view concerning this.
Okay, like I said before, I'm so happy about the decision to resume school. You know, a child naturally likes a holiday. They love playing. They prefer to play than to go to school. But when they are in school, that push really helps them to learn, helps them to develop their skill. So I'm really happy with this news. So that's what I.
Okay. Apart from you being happy with the news, are you safe? Do you feel safe? Do you feel it's time for schools to really be opened now? Do you think now is really the best time for schools to be open? You know, these children, if they go to school, they are asymptomatic. They will be asymptomatic. They will not exhibit any of these symptoms. So, and they are likely to survive, regardless. God forbid they contract it, they will survive. But now the problem is the elderly ones that they will go back home to meet. So that's why I'm asking this question. Do you think it's right? This is the right time? And on what ground do you feel that they should be saying school should be reopened?
Well, as stated, it's just the primary 6, JSS3 and SS3. So that is like a quarter of the population. So they can maintain that social distance in the classroom. They can also control the movement of the students. They can also control the usage of the official marks. I think it's a trial. If it works, then of course they will do a full resumption.
Okay.
So I think the trial is good. We cannot just allow them to stay at home and waste away. Okay, because the child learns better when the child is in school. So I think the trial is a good one.
Okay,
that is my own take.
But what about you see, like you said, education is very important for these children right now because they love to play more, but then going to school broadens them better and what have you. So now we are talking about graduating students, just a quarter of the school resumption. What do you think about all the students resuming school? Now, when that comes in place, how is it going to be? What do you think?
Well, if this trial works, of which it will work, you know, you have to be optimistic, you know. So then there should be kind of policy or a laid out rules for school to open. First of all, you must provide the basic facility for ICT to function in that school.
That's very common.
We're actually talking about that.
E-learning, you know, so that even if you're at home, you can equally participate. You know, definitely some students or some parents will still be scared. They will still want to go to school from home. Do you understand? So that they can marry the two. if you have the basic amenities, the basic facilities, the basic software infrastructure for ICT to be present in that school, you can open your school a full school. But you will still maintain the necessary rules and regulation, social distancing and facial masks and sanitizers, wash your hands regularly, maintain this, and they should take it serious because most of the time students or children play with it. You know, they like the high five, the shake and all that.
Yeah.
If you make them to take it serious, of course they will take it serious, and the school too should be serious about it, and I think it will function.
All right. I've actually been, when the federal government, the committee and everything, and everybody involved talked about resumption of school, considering those examination classes. We made mention of JSS3, SS3, and primary 6. Some people, which I consider the major stakeholders in education, came out to air their reservation concerning that. We saw from the Nigerian Union of Teachers, we saw from ASU, and that actually make one to wonder, does that mean the committee did not do enough consultation with these stakeholders in the education before issuing this? Because there was some statement where the Nigerian Union of Teachers or some teachers said they still love their life, they are scared for their lives. Like Messi pointed out, these children may be asymptomatic and they are likely to survive, but what of the aged teachers that are meant to go back to school to teach them?
If the aged teachers will follow the necessary precautions, you want to teach, make sure you use your face masks. You after teaching, make sure you wash your hands regularly.
Avoid contact to the children.
You can, well, there can be contact, but make sure you wash your hands regularly. Sanitize, use sanitizers. You know, I think you'll be safe. If you take your hygiene seriously, you will be safe.
Okay, we saw those guidelines as well. I think it revolves around everything you've been repeating since you came. Frequent hand washing with antiseptic soap, and then running water, not stagnant water, use of alcohol-based sanitizer and all. And then we've seen from other countries where school resumed, we saw how the kind of method they adopted. We were talking about China the other day, that they need to restructure their sitting arrangement, where they have this stuff like a workstation, they demarcate between your seat and this person's seat so that you don't make that contact. I saw another place that they attach something like wings to the uniform of the student, so that it does not allow you close contact or proximity with another student and all. If we want to really adopt that in Nigeria, how feasible
do you think it would be?
Like I said, before the school reopens, first, you know, education in Nigeria, you have 3 people involved. You have the school, you have the students, and you have the parents at home. These 3 must be in play for proper education in Nigeria. So the school, first of all, they must have the basic facilities for ICT. Because of course you give your word assignments. That what we need to research. And you research via ICT or maybe textbook and all that. But ICT is, you should bring it. You know, the world is a global village. It's turning into a global village. You can't do anything these days without ICT. So you inculcate that idea in the child's mind. Then also the children, you do flyers and all that, so that they get to know about the necessary measures they need to take for safety while in school. And when they go back home too, they should make use of ICT, e-learning, all right? And the parents also, they have their own role to play. At home, the parents also should ensure that their child is safe by going through their child's work, you know, communication with the child and all that. So the parents have their role to play, the child has his own role to play, and also the school
has its own role to play.
So if you can marry these 3 together, I think...
All right, gentlemen, I have this question for, for the both of you. Before this pandemic that schools had to be shut down and what have you, what was your personal view about homeschooling?
All right, my personal...
The question is for the both of you. So when Gabriel is done, I'd like to hear from the others.
All right.
Okay, the homeschooling. I, for one, I think the homeschooling, like I said before, education has to do with 2 people. 3 people, rather, the teacher,
the school and the parents.
The school, the students and the parents. In fact, if you're a parent and you don't know the handwriting of your child, you have not started.
True.
Wow.
You should know your child, know the strength of your child, know the weakness of your child.
Yes.
Then from there you motivate the strength. Then from there also you evaluate the weakness and find ways of improving that child. So homeschooling is very, very important if the parents or the guardian can follow through.
Okay.
But if the parent, okay, my own is to provide money, let the child, or I employ a teacher to do my work,
Yeah.
definitely that parents have not started yet.
Okay.
Okay.
But now, seeing the situation of the pandemic, do you advise that people eventually cultivate this homeschooling system? Probably pupils or students being in their homes and then teachers coming to meet them individually, probably in a neighborhood or like an estate. They create like a center inside of the estate. Like, okay, let's say Junior is living in this estate, Madeline is in this estate, Grace is in this estate. The three of them can be tutored together by one teacher assigned from that school. What do you think about such a scenario coming in light? That was why I asked that question. Before now, what was your view about homeschooling? And then now, homeschooling, because lots of people had comments without homeschooling. They say social interaction is going to be a no-no. The child becomes timid and what have you. But seeing what is happening
the child
now,
is actually limited to a particular environment.
exactly. So seeing this now,
I would want to maybe attack that from the issue of our population and then the sufficiency of our tutors that we have. If you know, the educational sector have actually been plagued by so many challenges even before the pandemic came in, and we've been trying to look at it that way. From the scenario you just painted, if Junior, Madeline, and somebody staying in the same estate, and then a tutor from that particular school, a teacher from that particular school is coming to tutor them, how much of these teachers do we have that can go around maybe all the neighborhood that the students have? Remember that a class normally have about 40 students or so, and then we're talking about just maybe 3 in a particular location, 2 or 5 in another location. Do we think the teachers will be enough to go around, or maybe a teacher will finish from here, maybe in 1 hour, goes to another place?
You're just in my mind because
before now, there's what we call extra lessons for the child.
Yes.
It's happening. Even now, it's still happening.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know. Are you saying now that schools should inculcate that in the system? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because of the present day situation. Now, when
That's
let me
more like an
comment.
adaptation method.
Yes, you understand. Just let me comment from where you stopped.
Okay.
You talked about maybe periods that there can be a swap, a change. This teacher comes in at this particular time. You know, we have periods in schools, that's in secondary schools. Okay, it's time for mathematics, it's time for English language, 2 hours for maths, or 1 hour for maths, 1 hour for English language. Scenarios like that. Now, it can be, and you'll still see that one teacher that leaves this period of time in this classroom and has to go to another classroom. So why can't it come and play outside of the school environment? We are talking about adaptation, looking further.
Okay, if I'm going to look at it from the school perspective, it will cost. The costs will be much because you have to employ more teachers.
Yeah. But has there been anything since the pandemic started that has required more cost? All right, this is still Daybreak Africa here on television, Nigeria. With us this morning, we had Mr. Gabriel, an ICT expert, and he shed light on the resumption of schools as announced by the PTF last week, Tuesday. So this is still Daybreak Africa. We go to the healthy living desk and we'll be right back.
Welcome to our Healthy Living segment. Today we'll be talking about food allergies. Food allergies are an unpleasant or a dangerous immune system reaction after a certain food is eaten. Your immune system overreacts by producing antibodies called immunoglobulin E. These antibodies travel to cells that release chemicals, causing an allergic reaction. This reaction usually causes symptoms in the nose, lungs, throat, sinuses, ears, lining of the stomach, or the skin. The cause of food allergies is unknown, but in some cases, allergies experienced during childhood may resolve in adulthood. Symptoms of a reaction can include digestive problems, hives, or swollen airways. Severe reactions can be life-threatening. Now, food sensitivity and intolerance, on the other hand, trigger reactions in the body's digestive system and are not potentially life-threatening. Symptoms may include bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, cramping, and/or nausea. The most common food allergy signs and symptoms include tingling or itching in the mouth, hives, itching or eczema, swelling of the lips, face, tongue, and throat, or other parts of the body, wheezing, nasal congestion, or trouble breathing, abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting, dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting. Now, what are the 4 types of allergic reactions? Type 1. Immediate hypersensitivity. These allergic reactions are systemic or localized, as in allergic dermatitis, for instance, hives, will, and erythema reactions. Type 2. Cytotoxic reaction, that is antibody dependent. Type 3. Immune complex reaction. And type 4. Cell-mediated, that is delayed hypersensitivity. Common foods that trigger allergies include milk, eggs, fish, crustaceans, shellfish such as crab, lobster, and shrimp. Tree nuts such as almonds, walnuts, and pecans. Peanuts, wheat and other grains with gluten such as barley, rye, and oats. Also, soya beans. Unfortunately, food allergies cannot be cured, and only awareness of symptoms and subsequent avoidance of certain foods can help eliminate the risk. Well, that is all in today's healthy living. Get to know your body and remember to eat healthy. Remember, most importantly, that a healthy body is a healthy life.
You're still watching Daybreak Africa on television Nigeria, and welcome back from our health desk where we took you around healthy tips on allergy right there. I remember some times back when we discussed that, we were talking about how people react differently to different allergies and all. And recall that before we went on that break, we told you we will be joined in the studio by Mr. Peggy Shande, who will be talking to us or sharing his view concerning the planned resumption of flight locally in Nigeria. We have Mr. Peggy in the studio already. Good morning, Mr. Peggy.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Peggy.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us on the program this morning.
You actually look bright like the Monday morning that it is.
Oh, wow.
All right.
It's no longer news about the planned resumption of domestic flights. It was actually planned for the 21st of last month, but due to advices from authorities, it was pushed back, and then we are just 2 days away from it. On the 8th, domestic flight will resume. What's your thought about this?
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to have me here
Yeah.
to discuss about flights.
Resumption.
Nigeria is in trouble.
All right.
Nigeria is in trouble because of the COVID pandemic. And you need to understand that for too long a time we have been on lockdown.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 weeks and another 2 weeks and then 4 weeks and all those kind of things. It was not helping Nigeria economically.
True.
And let me tell you that if Nigerians who were locked down are very important instruments for the economy of Nigeria, you know, movement of, you know, businessmen and businesses from one point to another. You know, it's affected by, you know, flights.
Yes.
True.
So Nigeria came to the point where they knew that the process is drying up. So let's begin the process, even though the international flights may not begin now.
No.
Let's jumpstart the economy back, you know, with the local flights. It's not just flying in the air that means flights are opened. It is what you're going to do in those places you're going.
Yeah.
And these places, it's business.
True.
You know, so if you don't travel, you don't, you know, do business. And as a matter of fact, the level of consumption of cow in Nigeria is Lagos State.
Yeah.
If they had opportunity to fly the cows to Lagos, they would do that. In fact, there was a period when the trucks, you know, there was high need of, you know, beef, of cow meat.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that the Yoruba people, you know, they eat a lot of pomo.
And lots of owambes.
And a lot of owambes, and, you know, a lot of celebrations all over the places. And so they had to even carry cow into the flight and fill them to Lagos just to be able to meet the demands.
Wow. Wow, that happened.
So I appreciate Nigeria for thinking of bringing. I thought, I'm rather thinking that they should have opened earlier. I don't know why they're wasting time.
Yeah, because if now they're just lifting the interstate ban.
Yeah.
But before that, we are all very familiar with the fact that movements have been going on, despite they are just lifting the ban on the lockdown. So if movements could have been going on, what then stops the flights from moving?
No, you
Ever
see,
since then?
you know, it is a very terrible situation that I wonder how God created me to come to be an indigene of this part of the planet.
Wow.
But you see, systems here work the way they work. When they were saying lockdown, 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 nose masks, face masks, all kind of thing, people who never bath in their lives, they say wash their hands, do this thing, do that kind of thing. Well, for the Muslims, I appreciate the culture of their tradition, religion, you know, that permeates the fact that for you to go into prayers, you must perform ablution.
Yes.
So they had, except that they were touching, you know, very sensitive places, you need to wash your hands. Otherwise, most people don't understand what it means to wash their hands.
True.
But this part of the world where we come from, where they say, don't do this, that is the time you see Nigerians doing it.
They want to do it.
Then when they say, do this, that time, wow, wow, wow. Now until you see that somebody's house and a fence is built, and then is wishing that that fence will not have to collapse with people's urine. They will say, donate your urine here, signed by herbalists. That is when Nigerians will not urinate on that fence.
But when you say,
when they say, don't urinate here, you are attracting. So movement was going about.
Because they said no movement.
Because they said no.
No movement.
Quite funny.
Simple explanation there.
All right, Mr. Peggy, you know, the essence of using flight, one is for the fact that it saves time, for the convenience and the comfortability.
Yes.
But with the whole guidelines that have actually been put in place concerning the resumption of the flight, we might not really see that time effectiveness. We might not really see that comfort and everything again, because from the guidelines you're supposed to arrive at the airport 3 hours to your flight time.
3 hours?
Yes,
Yes,
your
3
flight
hours.
time. That means you are going to, if your flight from here, maybe from here to Lagos about 45 minutes, you are going to be spending about 6 hours. Because for the traffic of getting to the airport, depending on where you are staying in Abuja, and then 3 hours to your flight time, and then the flight time on air, the time you spend on air from here to Lagos and everything, about 4, 5, 6 hours. That time effectiveness might not really be there again. And then the comfort and everything. I want us to talk about that. Then, very importantly, we got news about the passenger service charge that's actually been increased for domestic flights from 1,000 naira to 2,000 naira. That's 100% increment. And then for international flight, from $50 to $100. And the cargo owners, the aircraft owners have actually come to condemn that action and everything. So I wanted to talk about those two things I just raised.
Is now really the best period for all this increment, and how well will Nigerians be? We know that there are lots of bigger persons in the society that this wouldn't be a problem for. But what about the ordinary Nigerians that would manage and really, because of the bad roads or
the time
attacks that are happening on the road, and people want to still use this flight to go, okay, they can afford it, but now there's going to be increment. How is this going to play out at the long run?
Well, thank you very much for that very interesting and very That's two questions at me at once. I thank you very much for that beautiful question, needing very, very serious answers. I warn Nigerians that this pandemic is killing people in other parts of the world. I told Nigerians, get ready because this thing is going to shut down systems. There's going to be a systemic failure. They didn't hear me. As a journalist, they didn't care. They got me arrested, put me up in that place, and I was inside with all kinds of things. We were passing out excrements in the same place and every kind of thing.
Wow.
And today, not only are we losing very important personalities, thank God that I was vindicated. I don't know what the federal government, if it were in the other climes, I think I should have been celebrated. But nobody wants to celebrate such people.
True.
Because who are you? Who's your father? You are the son of who? These are the kind of questions they ask. So if you ask me why I was heralding that Nigeria should be getting ready because the lackadaisical attitude from every system, is not properly planned. Answering your question now.
All right,
yes. Are you thinking that the person who bought those fleets did not buy them to make money?
They obviously did.
They did. And so passengers need to book ahead so that you can maintain the pilot. There is expenditure on the maintenance of the craft.
True.
There is also aviation fuel,
Yeah.
which is expensive.
Very expensive.
And even when we were buying facial masks at 50 naira, coronavirus has brought a lot of business for everybody. It has moved from 50 naira to 700 naira. And so you can understand that even those people who own these flights shouldn't be expected not to have an inflation because this is business. When they start calculating how long they have packed this craft for. And then you know that in the hangars, whether you fly the flight or you fly the plane or not, you're paying. So the passenger must fly with all the billions stocked up in their account. And they're businessmen who are flying economy or premier or business class or stuff. They need to make sure they pay through their nose so that the owners of this fleet can understand that it was not an NGO that came to run.
All right, I think I get his
So the whole, just to round up that, the whole problem from the beginning of the time wasting to the excess cash that they need to add in the name of they're trying to ease all these things, I warned everybody will suffer.
Wow.
But I pray that Nigerians will not completely be submerged, in economy because they have to wake up. Wow. How do you expect to raise money if you are going to observe social distancing in the plane?
Exactly.
Right.
How can you raise monies to?
That's the point. That's the point I was trying to understand.
That is the point
with the Federal Airport of Nigeria. But the whole unclear situation here is the fact that it is the authorities that are saying they need to increase, and the fleet owners are saying no, don't increase now. That's where I don't really get it clear.
That's where the whole.
So everybody's okay now. I don't know how much you have in your pocket now, but I know how much I have in my pocket.
Yes.
I don't know what value I am supposed to be. I don't know if the value that I'm actually supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be, in terms of financial strength, I am actually there. COVID-19 has caused a lot of problems.
True.
I'm telling you the truth. If you go to the market to buy gari, if they tell you how much, my salary has finished on food alone. And I have not been able to eat to my satisfaction yet. Don't think about someone else who does not even have a job like I do. And then who is depending on people to move so that they can actually make a living. It was amazing when I got to the printing shops, one of the double plazas I went around, and they rushed me like I brought to work. I had my files. So they rushed me like, is it printing, Oga? Oga, because if you don't get someone to get a job, to print a job for someone,
feeding will be
then feeding is a problem. We're here and we're thanking God that they're even paying us.
All right, then.
Mr. Peggy.
Thank you, Mr. Peggy, so much for your views and points this morning. You've really said a lot, and we pray that everything will be fine.
Thank you very much.
All right, this is still Daybreak Africa here on television, Nigeria. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll take the dailies.
Now the match don't start. Today na him first catch coronavirus. Him pass am to Sarah. Sarah go market and she dash Adamu. Adamu carry the virus run come give him children for house. Now so the children carry the virus enter playground. From playground, it can't enter grandpa body. Grandpa take over, pass and give him friends as they shake hand for road. Now so grandpa friends carry coronavirus go their house. Before you know, they don't throw away and give everybody for yard. Now so corona enter box 18 and he say goal! My people, if we give coronavirus chance, it go win all of us. Protect yourself and your family. Stay inside your house and make sure say you dey wash your hand with soap and water at least 12 times a day. If you get cough and fever and it dey hard you to breathe, call 0800 026 7662. Corona dey kill. Make we careful o.
Okay, I'm coming back in. All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is still Daybreak Africa here on television, Nigeria. Moving to the dailies this morning now.
Yeah, we have a whole lot of stories that gracing the front pages of the national dailies, and we'd like to kickstart with the Nation newspaper. And from the Nation newspaper, above the nameplate, we have government to avenge attack on UN workers. President condemns action. That story can be found on page 5 of the Nation newspaper. I actually came across that story where it was reported that Boko Haram insurgent attacked a UN plane and 2 workers were killed.
Wow.
Beside that, Ajimobi's Fidao or your government family disagree. Olaniyon, I was bad. Another story there concerning the late Ajimobi, former Oyo State governor, and so many people were wondering they should just allow this man to
rest in peace.
Okay, and then the banner headline is talking about the coronavirus with the caption, 2,430 virus patients decline to show up for treatment. Lagos, they fear stigmatization. You will be arrested without face mask. PTF chair attends antivirus prayers. And then concerning flight, Arik, Aero, Dana, others begin Lagos Abuja flight Wednesday. Yes, we made mention of it with the session we just had with Peggy, that we are 2 days away from the resumption of domestic flights. You can actually pick a copy of the Nation newspaper to get the details of the stories and even more.
All right, let's take a look at the Daily Sun newspaper this morning. The big headline here, federal government talks tough on flight resumption. Non-compliant airports, airlines would fly, vows NCAA. Below the picture nameplate there, 21 feared dead in Benue boat mishap. Lagos death toll rises to 7. Still below that, church leaders exhibiting reckless confidence against COVID-19. says federal government. That's on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Still beside that, Fidelity Bank appoints Chike Obi chairman. That's on page 2 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Above the nameplate, 2023 presidency. Anybody against Southeast enemy? Ohaneze tells the youth. Indibo must build alliances with other zones, says Uzodima. I'll take this last story here. Ado Guba, why I'm against Obaseki's choice as PDP candidate. That's coming from Afegwa. You can get a hold of that story on page 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper, and a whole lot of other stories on the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, we'll quickly move on to this day newspaper, and we take it from top to the bottom. Fidelity Bank appoints Chike Obi board chairman. Ebi Adetu step down. AIG Imokwende establishes Adopt a Healthy Facility Program initiative. That story can be found on the page 10 of this day newspaper. And then the banner headline from this daily says, COVID-19 raises Nigeria's e-payment transaction to 11.7 trillion naira, says a report. FG cautions churches against reckless confidence over virus. 544 new cases move tally to 28,711 with 11,655 discharged, then 645 dead. Jonathan Kenyatta rally support against pandemic and terrorism. Reopening schools unsafe, dangerous, ANAP insists. Ghanaian president self-quarantines after exposure to patient. And then we have a story concerning the gubernatorial election selected for September 19 in Edo State with the caption, APC governors Tinubu to meet to plot Ize Iyamu's victory. PDP carpet ruling party over hush puppy. And then I'll take this last one before I give Mrs. Jo the chance to take a look at the one she has in her front. Anxiety over fate of Ondo deputy governor as assembly reconvenes today. You can get the detail of that particular headline on the page 5, and then do well by picking a copy of this day newspaper for more details concerning stories we just brought your way.
Okay, taking a look at this Daily Times newspaper this morning. The big headline here, Ngigi tackles NECA over 3.4 billion naira NSITF fraud. Accuses body of complicity. Insists DG suspension followed due process. Below the picture nameplate, Fidelity Bank appoints Chike Obi chairman as Ebi retires. Still beside that, troops eliminate 75 terrorists, rescue 35 victims. Nigerian Content Intervention Fund hits $350 million. Still above the nameplate, federal government urges Christians, Muslims to intensify prayer over COVID-19. NECA calls for caution as CBN moves to unify Forex market. And I'll take this last headline here. Wizkid, Made in Lagos album picks July 16th release date. You can get hold of that of those stories and many more at this Daily Times newspaper.
All right, now we move on to the Nigerian Tribune, and we have some interesting headlines here. Just immediately below the nameplate, I'm not an enemy to anyone in APC. That is coming from Fayemi. That story is on the page 24 of the Nigerian Tribune. Beside that, Ondo lawmakers may begin deputy governor's impeachment this week. You can check that out on the page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. And still from Nigerian Tribune, CBN's adjustment of Naira rates will cause inflation. Check that out on page 25, and that's actually coming from NECA. The banner headline from Nigerian Tribune says, COVID-19, some Christians exhibit reckless confidence. That is coming from SGF, and that story can be found on page 2 and page 30 of Nigerian Tribune. Madagascar reimposes lockdown amid surge in cases. Same Madagascar that we were thinking would be getting the cure from. Big one. All right, and then below the picture story, we have Oyo deputy governor denied access to Ajimobi's 8th day prayer. You can pick a copy of the Nigerian Tribune to get the details of this and even more. And I'll take this last two before and I'll hand over to Mercy Joe. No regrets over negotiating with bandits, still the best option. That is coming from Governor Matawale. IGP to deploy additional 780 police personnel in Zamfara. Then, sadly from Benue State, 21 feared dead as boat capsizes in Benue. That story can be found on page 31 of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, taking a look at the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The big headline here, as banks rake in 22 billion naira, customers groan over multiple charges, taxes, what CBN is doing, how banks could improve revenue base. That's coming from experts. You can get hold of that story on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Below the nameplate, COVID-19, Nigeria's exhibiting reckless confidence. That's coming from the federal government. Beside that, Oyo deputy governor banned from Ajimobi's 8-day prayer. So like Elvis was saying, they should allow the dead to rest. Above that, how we conquered poverty through laundry business. Wow. That's on page 17. In case you want to know, you can get a hold of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Still beside that, 3 killed, APC chairman abducted in Katsina State. That's on page 4. And I'll take this last headline here. PDP nets 273 million naira from Edo Ondo governorship's phone. That's on page 34 of the Daily Trust newspaper, and that does it for the Daily Trust newspaper.
Right. That last headline actually got me recorded. We're trying to bring up this case as one of our major concerns for the day, when the story was actually trending very well concerning the
amount
people, the amount of money people spend to get nomination forms for parties, and
growing in millions.
Yeah, and then the effect it might actually have on our democracy. And all. I think one of these days we'll have to bring that up. But meanwhile, let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. And the banner headline from the Guardian newspaper reads, Nigeria gets 2021 deadline to stop dirty fuel import. Government expands oil gas intervention fund to 135.8 billion naira. And then below the picture story, government warns churches against reckless confidence over COVID-19. Expert harp on risk factors, case fatality ratio, explain why Nigeria, Ghana, others may record lower death. Pick a copy of the Guardian newspaper to get the details of this and even more.
All right, moving to the Punch newspaper this morning. The headline here, APC power block shift battle for parties control to states. Above the nameplate, try me if my alleged link with Hush Puppy is proved. That's coming from Dogara. That's on page 13. Beside that, Wadume, killer soldiers can't face terrorism charge before court martial, says Falana. That's on page 11 of the Punch newspaper. Below the picture nameplate here, Ajimobi's family, deputy governor, disagree on Fidel lockout. Lasma official stabs live-in lover, commits suicide. May his soul rest in peace. 21 missing in Benue boat accident. Lagos toll rises to 7. That does it for the Punch newspaper this morning.
And now let's quickly take a look at the Business Day for headlines from that national daily. And then below the nameplate and beside the picture, beside the banner headline, investigation, broken health centers, road, schools underscore plight of Imo oil communities. And then the inside story reads, AIG Imokwede on the business of saving lives. That story is on the page 20 of the Business Day. And then these are 14 NSE stock yielded positive returns in excess of +10 as at half year. You can check that out on the page 27 of the Business Day. And then on page 28, you have the story, Signature 50 ranking unveils Nigeria's biggest corporation. And then the banner headline says, CBN snail-paced exchange rate unification frustrate investors. Pick a copy of the Business Day to get the details of this and even more.
Right, that does it for the dailies this morning. Let's launch a straight quiz on zoning in Nigeria.
The zoning system in this country, yeah, if you say it's working, you're saying a lie. And if you say it's not working, you may be still saying a lie, but on the contrary, it's not working.
To me, it's not working because some region haven't even been on the throne since democracy, and why some region have been there several times and they are still there.
Okay, in the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, he's supposed to pick running mate, that's vice president from southeast to balance it. Since Obasanjo just left the power, but vice president went to southwest. Now they're talking of it's not working.
Other parts of the country don't actually stand the benefits of the zoning system. So for me, it's not as effective as it ought to be.
The zoning system in Nigeria, is it working? And if it's working, you explain to me.
To me, it's not working because some region haven't even been on the throne since democracy, and why some region have been there several times and they are still there. I think all this thing is just about tribalism and nepotism. So all we just need is just like let the person that fits for the throne be there, not about zoning. Because if it's about who fits the work, these are current persons should not be there because it's not even fit at all. So I think let's look out for the best best team that can play it, not about region or religion, because now they are doing things over like, okay, fine, now the last one is Yoruba or Ijaw, and now play north. Okay, the next one, where will it come from? People are vying for Atiku, and Atiku is still from the north. Then that means we are still on the same region. So I think what we need is just to like work on like to know the best man for the job. So zoning system is not working at all. It's not even at anywhere to get it close to working.
Jonathan, was he doing well?
Jonathan did his best, but it lacks in some areas. Nobody is perfect. That's the fact. So he tried his best in some area, and in some area he doesn't even try. So I think he did at like 60% of his best.
Absolutely not. It's not working.
Why do you say it's not working?
The zoning system in this country, yeah. If you say it's working, you're saying a lie, and if you say it's not working, you may be still saying a lie, but on the contrary, it's not working. Why I'm saying it's not working is, if you come to the north, where I come from, because I'm from Benue State, and when that zone, if we come to political zoning, all of us we are from the north. So if you come to the north, the zoning system in the north is very, very poor, in such a way that the zoning favors only the far north. And if I'm talking about the far north, it's only the northwest, not even the east. The east are not included, the middle belt are not included. So if you check from the time of Ahmadu Bello down to this time, Tafawa Bellowa and all of this, if you check, there is no time that the head of this country come from the middle belt or from the west. If you,
what about Gawan?
Gawan. If you're talking about Gawan, Gawan was a military head of state. He was not an elected president. So if you're talking about the elected president in this country, that is where we are talking about the zoning system. You cannot talk about the zoning system include the military. It doesn't work that way. It's just in the democratic system of government that you talk about the zoning. So if you check, Buhari is from the west, Yar'Adua was from the west, who again? Even now, okay, Buhari is from the west, Yar'Adua is from the west. Okay, now Shagari is also from the west. So if you come to the east, where the Atiku and all of that come from, you see nothing. If you come to the middle belt, we have not even given of even the vice president.
Which zone do you think it should be zoned to 2023 presidency?
Under normal circumstances, if you want to go by the geopolitical zoning of this country, it's supposed to go to the east. Yes, it's supposed to go to the east. Because the reason why I say it's supposed to go to the east, if you're talking about the north, it can't come here because Buhari have already occupied the space of the north. And if you want to talk about the south, you can't talk about the south because Obasanjo just came down from there, and now they have the vice president. So if you're talking about the east, the presidency is supposed to go to the east because Jonathan is not from the east, and everybody know that Jonathan just climbed on somebody's back and entered. So the east, they have been marginalized for a very long time. Thank God I'm not from the east, but I am just saying the truth that they have been marginalized for a very long time. If they are talking about the three major tribes in this language, the Igbo, the Hausa, and the Yorubas and the Hausas have been having their cake, while the Igbos are not be having their cake. Now that they are crying about the Biafra, they will not allow them to go. They say they should remain. Now they have remained. They are still pressing them. And I am telling you, my brother, if you're not from the East, but the way they are pressing these people, a day will come that will affect us too. With the Middle Belt, if you check, the same state that the East have, that the same state that we have. We have Kwara, we have Benue, we have Kogi, we have Niger, and we have Plateau. That is 5 states. If you go to the East, Imo, Anambra, Enugu, Abia, Ebonyi, so forth and so forth. We are just the same thing. So if you are now like this thing is happening to the East, is not to the Us, then when we are talking about the Middle Belt, that we are now crying marginalization in the North, that we also want to be separated. If we separated from the North and we stand on our own as Middle Belt, the same thing that is happening to the East will happen to us. You understand what I'm saying? So the zoning system in this country is completely poor.
Obasanjo came from Southwest. From 1999 to 2007, he was on board. After Obasanjo, Yaradua came in. After Yaradua, he died. Jonathan completed his tenure. Jonathan was to go for a second term, but believing, doing something in the North, hoping that the Northerners will support him for him to come back for a second term. He got disappointed. Now, Buhari came in. President Muhammad Buhari came in. Now they're talking of shifting power. Tinubu is waxing strong. Other ones are waxing strong from the North. What of it's not working? What I'm saying is not working. What of the Southeast? Are there slaves in the country? Okay, in the government of President Muhammad Buhari, he's supposed to pick running mate, that's vice president from Southeast, to balance it. Since Obasanjo just left the power, but vice president went to Southwest. Now they're talking of it's not working. There's not like true nationalism in Nigeria.
So to you now, there are some zones like Middle Belt. Have they provide president?
Middle Belt. Yes. Go on route for 9 years. He's from Middle Belt. Go is from Plateau. He ruled the country for 9 years.
Which zone now is missing?
Southeast. Southeast are not produced president of the country.
2023 presidency now, where do you think should be zoned to? Both PDP, both APC, any political party, where do you want them to zone into?
From Southeast, should be zoned to Southeast.
What about the vice?
Nah, we don't know any vice could come. Yes, if we go to Southeast, it comes from North. Vice will come from North to balance it.
So zone system in Nigeria, is it functioning?
When you say functioning, I think that is an understatement. If you say if zoning system in Nigeria is functioning, it's an understatement. Because I don't see zoning functioning. All right. Also, it's not constitutional for we to begin to say if zoning system is functioning in Nigeria, because we'll begin to look at the zoning system in terms of the presidencies and what have you, the performance of the people who had come to power. A divergent view for the people of Nigeria and the populace of Nigeria. You get me? To begin to see if the system is one indivisible nation as we claim to be, aside of tribe, aside of ethnicity and what have you, religion and what have you. But the zoning system is already working. Taking a look from what is happening now, presently, because of the president whom we have that is Northwest, is he really performing? So with this measure, you can be able to say if this zoning system were to...
All right, that was a strict creed on zoning system in Nigeria. And then so many people might want to argue that, okay, zoning is just an internal party arrangement and all of that. But if we really want to see that peace we clamor for in this country, then we need to do everything inclusively. Yeah. You can tell from the voice of the people how they have been yearning for some particular regions that have actually been perceivably or presumably marginalized,
which we're not seeing.
Yeah,
and
for a while.
Most of them are of the opinion that the zoning is not actually coming in play as expected, and most of them are saying whoever is fit for the seat should be there, irrespective of zoning or no zoning. All right, it's been Daybreak Africa here on television Nigeria. Our question for today is, which is the longest river in the world? which is the longest river in the world? That's our question for today. So please kindly drop your answers for on section there, and tomorrow we'll review our winners of the day. My name is Mercy Joe.
And my name is Elvis Oga. I'd like to say a very big thank you for being with us on the show this morning. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place, for another interesting edition. Until then, do have yourself a lovely day.
Bye from now.